Howdy, guys. Welcome to Cliff Notes and welcome to recap of the Challenge Ride or Dice episode number 16. All right, we're getting down to the end of it now. We don't have that many folks left. Last week was rough. Last week we lost four strong players. We lost Casey and Kenny, one duo, and we also lost Amber and Chauncey. So we went down from 14 contestants down to 10 contestants in a single episode. It's feeling like we're right at finals time at this point in time. So we're going to find out later this evening if that is indeed the case. It's interesting. The 10 contestants left. We've got four vets together, and we've got one team of newbies, of rookies. Kind of happy to see a rookie team mixing it in with the other four vet duos. We'll see if they last past this episode or not. All right, so as we get the episode started, we just had Amber and Chauncey having lost. We've got the four left, or the five left coming back into the house. And we got some conversations taking place. There's nowhere to hide at this point in time. We've got Aneesa talking with Jordan about how long she has been doing this challenge. I started watching, I don't know, quite a few years ago, but Aneesa had been playing even before that. Aneesa has been playing for a long time, talking about the fact that in all that time, 20 years, in fact, she has never won the challenge. She wants it to be this year for her. She's getting close. We'll find out if that's the case. They are certainly feeling optimistic about their chances to make it to the final and then win the entire thing. But they're not the only ones that are feeling a little optimistic. So are Olivia and Horacio, and they know the odds are against them as a rookie team. But so far, they've done what they had to do in the elimination arena. They're still here. They're feeling like they've got what they need to advance all the way to the end as well. So those duos feeling very optimistic. We see some other folks getting excited for different reasons. We see Bananas and Mariah hanging out with each other, seeming to get very close. Now, they're not duos with each other. Bananas is with Nany, Mariah's with Faisal, but Bananas and Mariah certainly seem to be connecting with each other, which I know to be the case because at Hearts of Reality last December, I saw both of them showing up together at that charity event. So yeah, things must have gone well for Bananas and Mariah. It really makes me wonder what that says for this game and who ends up at the end and all of that. I don't know if there's any connection or not, but Mariah's and Bananas certainly enjoying each other's company at the very end of this thing. And then we have some talk going on. We see Jordan and Faisal talking about the fact that Bananas, who has won 7 challenges so far this over the course of the challenge, the fact that Bananas, such a strong player and has not been to the elimination arena a single time. So Jordan and Faisal talking about that. Devin talking, not necessarily to Faisal, talking to the cameras, but saying if he gets a chance, he's putting Bananas up. No more of this coasting for Johnny Bananas. They've worked together pretty much all season long, which is, I think, benefited both of them. But Devin's saying sometimes it gets to be time, and if I have the say, I'm going to put Bananas up. We'll see. We also have Devin telling Tori that he's ready to put up Nany and Bananas if he has the power. So he's trying to work it with her as well. But we also see some conversations with Faisal and Mariah. They're worried that if they don't win power this week, they easily could be the nomination. Faisal feels like he's probably the strongest, most athletic player left in the competition. And to some degree, I'm not going to disagree with him, but I'm up on Horacio. That guy's doing pretty well as well. There's no slackers at this point in the game. But Faisal and Mariah worry that they easily could be the target. I think as much, not just because he's the most athletic, but he sees the connections with some of these other teams that they have with each other. He said and Tori are so tight with each other. He knows that he could easily be put up because of that. And sure enough, with them talking about how worried they are, we then see Tori talking to the cameras saying that, yeah, Devin wants to put Bananas up, but truly, if it came down to me, I think Faisal and Mariah are the biggest threats. That's who we need to be putting up. So a little dissension within the Tori and Devin duo there. And we also see Horacio and Olivia, the rookie team left. They're talking about the fact that they think it's probably time to go after Bananas as well, which makes sense because if I recall, Bananas and Nany put up Horacio and Olivia way back early in the season, but they have a good reason to put Bananas up other than just the fact that he's won so many. So Faisal Mariah, certainly in trouble. Bananas and Nany, very much in trouble as well. So with all those conversations, let's talk about the weekly challenge that they had this week. The name of it, Frozen Senseless. As a guy who can't stand the cold, create shivers just even thinking about the name. Yeah, Frozen Senseless. And it does involve some cold temperatures. Turns out what they're going to have to do, we see as the game starts, as the challenge starts, there's 5 old steel tubs in the middle of a field filled to the brim with maybe a little water in there. It looks like mainly it's just ice, a little water mixed in, very cold ice bath. And here's how the game's going to work. 5 tubs, 5 duos still left. When TJ blows a horn, one member of each duo has to run across the field. There's a barricade. They have to dig under, pull themselves underneath the barricade. Once they get to the other side, there's a box. I don't know, 2-foot box or so with 2 holes. Put your hands in. And inside of that big cube are 3 blocks, something like that, 6 inches, 8 inches across, something. But 3 blocks that have different symbols on all the different faces. And the players have to, just using their hands, because they can't see what's going on, just with their hands feel and try to determine what symbols are on what cube, which way they're pointing, things like that. Get that information, run back to the center of the field. They then have to get into the ice tub with their partner. They can only talk while both of them are in the tub. Give as much information as possible about what these little cubes look like, shapes, which way they're pointing, things like that. At that point, the partner then gets out of the ice tub, has to run the opposite direction in the field, dig under their own barrier, and then on the other side of the barrier is the 3 cubes with a whole bunch of little pieces that are not attached. They have to attach the pieces to mimic what their partner has felt with their hands on the other side. The first one who can recreate their 3 cubes, their 3 blocks, to match what's in the hidden cube wins the challenge. So it's going to be a lot of running back and forth and then getting in the frozen ice bath to convey the information and then repeat it over and over again. A hard challenge, a lot of running. You got to think, hey, you get a little hot and sweaty running, digging underneath this, and then you're subjecting yourself to this freezing cold water. Get your attention. And then you have to talk through chattering teeth and everything else. So pretty cool competition. Now, as they start the competition, seems like Tori and Devin and Nany and Bananas have taken early lead. They certainly are getting under the barrier first and everything else. But again, to actually make this work, they have to then make it back, share the information with their partner. And it is a hard challenge requiring a lot of communication. And it seems like after a little while, once they start sharing the information, Horatio and Olivia and Tori and Devin seem to be taking the lead just based on the information sharing. I mentioned Bananas and Nany had taken the early lead. Well, that's just the pure physical part of it. When it comes to the communication, Bananas and Nany, Faisal and Mariah, not so much. They just don't quite seem to be on the same connection in terms of passing on the information, figuring out which way these arrows are pointing on the cubes and things like that. They're just not doing a good job of passing the data from one person to the other. Really, it's Tori and Devin, Horatio and Olivia who are doing best at that. And in the end, in a bit of a runaway, it turns out that the winner of this challenge is Tori and Devin. Yeah, not a huge surprise. Anything that involves more than just pure physical endurance and things like that, Devin does well. He's so well at puzzles. He's proven it once again. So Devin and Tori have won the competition. They have the power this week. Now recall, Tori kind of wanted to go after Faisal and Mariah. Devin wanted to go after Bananas and Nany. So they are not in agreement going into the elimination picking. So we'll see how that all works out. But Tori and Devin are definitely safe at this point in time. They're going to be part of the final 8. So props to them for doing that. So who is in trouble? Well, obviously, as I mentioned, Bananas and Nany could be in trouble. Aneesa and Jordan probably are the only safe ones right now, because Tori's not going to let Devin put up Aneesa and Jordan, not with Tori and Aneesa as close as they are. But here's the thing. Devin and Tori are only putting up the duo that's guaranteed to be fighting for elimination. There's only going to be 3 other duos left. So it's going to come down to a safety draw, a safety pick to determine who the other couple competing is. So even though we fully suspect that Aneesa and Tori and Devin will not put up Aneesa and Jordan, that doesn't mean that they still couldn't get picked based on the way the safety dagger drawing takes place. Tori and Devin don't have any control over that. So the only one's completely safe for Tori and Devin at this point. All right. So with that, we've got some more conversations taking place. Tori talking to Devin, again, saying that Aneesa and Jordan are untouchable. Devin's agreeing. No surprise there whatsoever. They're also mentioning the fact that Olivia and Horatio just last week saved Tori and Devin when they had the chance and put up Amber and Chauncey instead. And because of that, they may be safe as well. They probably would not put up Horatio and Olivia either in terms of the initial pick. So who do they go after? Bananas or Faisal duos? Well, that's a big decision that is to be made. So we have the interrogations taking place with the other four duos. We'll call them duos because they're not all romantically. Most of them aren't, in fact. But on to the interrogations. We've got Horatio and Olivia making sure that they remind Tori and Devin that they just saved them last week. Here's something else that they do during this conversation I think was brilliant and makes a huge difference. They also tell Tori and Devin that if they don't get picked for elimination and they happen to draw the safety dagger, that they will save Aneesa and Jordan. And obviously that's exactly what Tori wants to hear. They want to know that Aneesa and Jordan have a 1 in 3 chance of drawing the dagger, but also another 1 in 3 chance if Horatio and Olivia win it, draw the dagger, the safety dagger, that they'll save Aneesa and Jordan. Their worst fear is that Aneesa and Jordan could end up having to compete at this point in time. So brilliant move from Horatio and Olivia to make that commitment. If it comes down to it, we'll see if they actually do it or not. We have Aneesa and Jordan right off the bat. They're told, hey, yeah, obviously we're not putting y'all up. Y'all are safe. Jordan does say, talking about who maybe they should go up, Bananas versus Faisal. And Jordan is saying, look, maybe the only reason that you wouldn't put up Bananas is because so far in this whole game, Bananas has never mentioned your name, Devin. Now, remember, in past seasons, Devin and Bananas haven't always been the best of allies, the best of buddies. They've gone after each other plenty of times, but they kind of had a truce going into this season. Devin has already told us earlier this episode he'll go after Bananas, but now we got Jordan saying, Bananas really has been sincere about this alliance with you, apparently, because he's never mentioned your name, whispering or anything else. So that may give Devin a little pause to ponder and think about it. We do have Faisal and Mariah come in to try to plead their case. Faisal's pointing out that, hey, not just this season, Devin, but in 4 seasons, I've never mentioned your name. I've never put you up. I've never done anything to go after you. Hey, scratch my back at this point in time if you get a chance, Devin. So he's trying to argue his case as well. It's interesting. Every duo that comes in here, they've got a reason, an argument of why it shouldn't be them to get picked. The problem is when you only have 8 people, when you only have 4 duos to pick from, especially when one of those duos is absolutely your best friends and safe, there's just nowhere to hide. You can have the best argument in the world, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Tori and Devin and who they think best benefits their game. At this point in the game, it can't be who took care of you in seasons past, it's got to be who you think is going to further your game the most by getting rid of them, basically. So we've got that. We've got Bananas finally come in, and he talks about kind of the same thing that Jordan says. Hey, look, Devin, you and I have been tight this whole season. No one would have ever thought that we would stay tight the way we are, but we've continued it. I'm not coming after you. I hope you're doing the same thing. So Banana as well, also making his case. It's a tough decision. Again, there's arguments to be made for just about each and every one of them. We do have a small bit of time in the episode where they go to the bar, they hang out a little bit. Couple of key conversations that take place in there. The big one, one of the big ones, I think, Olivia and Aneesa. They seem to be close to making a deal to protect each other. Now, we already saw Olivia promise Tori and Jordan that if they had the opportunity, they would save Aneesa and Jordan. She's basically saying the same thing to Aneesa here. Aneesa seems to be receptive to it. I would be, wouldn't you be? I didn't actually hear her use the words back to Olivia saying, well, if we got the dagger, we would save y'all as well. I didn't quite hear that being said, but it does seem like that's the way she's leaning, at least during the conversation itself. We'll see if that comes into play are not. We also have Faisal in conversation, really working Devin, trying to push Devin to put up bananas instead of Faisal. Talk about how big a threat he is. Of course, he's going to say that, right? He's not wrong, but he understands. I think he recognizes it's probably either he and Mariah or Nany and Bananas that they're going to get picked at this point in time. So he's pushing that Bananas needs to get put up right now. So let's talk about the arena, the zone, I think they call it, the elimination competition taking place tonight. Tori and Devin have to pick one of these other 4 duos to go in for elimination, and their pick is Faisal and Mariah. Yes, indeed. Tori won out in the little conversation between her and Devin. Not sure how much of it had to do with Jordan's comments about Bananas not going after. I don't really know, but Faisal and Mariah are definitely going to be fighting for their lives this particular episode. Who are they going up against? It's out of Tori and Devin's hands. At this point, it's all having to do with the drawing of the safety dagger. And the safety dagger this week has been drawn by Horatio and Olivia. Yeah, I don't know if they would have been picked for elimination if one of the other 2 duos had drawn it. I don't know. I think there's a chance they would have been safe no matter what, but certainly this guarantees Horatio and Olivia's safety. Now the big question, are they saving Bananas and Nany, or are they saving Aneesa and Jordan as they promised they were going to do? Well, they follow through on their promise, which I think is good. Why burn bridges? Certainly Bananas and Nany's are a huge threat. They've got a reason for putting them up since Bananas and Nany nominated them earlier. They save Aneesa and Jordan. They select, therefore, Johnny, Bananas, and Nany to go in elimination against Faisal and Mariah. We're going to lose one big power. No slight against Mariah or Nany at all, but truly Faisal versus Johnny Bananas, 2 huge competitive threats in those 2 guys. We're going to lose one of them this evening, unless TJ throws some crazy something at us. So that's the competition that's going to take place. One of those big guys is going home this evening. The game they're going to be deciding their fate on is called Bridget. It's a fun one. This is an interesting game. 2 towers set up. How tall? I don't know, 30 feet or so up in the air. One tower has 1 duo, so Bananas on one side, Nany on the other side of one tower, Faisal on one side, Mariah on the other side of the other tower. You've got 2 ropes leading all the way up to the top of these towers. Rope ladders, except there's no rungs attached to these 2 ropes. There's a few spikes sticking up attached to the ropes, but no rungs themselves. And that's where the game comes into play, because each of the 4 players is given 3 rungs. They aren't attached to anything. They're basically, we'll call them broomsticks. They have 4 sticks that are to serve as rungs. They only have 3 of them. Once TJ blows a whistle, you have to take one of those rungs, stick it on these 2 ropes. Just kind of, as I mentioned, there's spikes sticking out from these ropes, pegs. Set the rung on top of the peg so you can put weight on it and it doesn't slide down the rope. Take your first step, take your second rung, set it on the second set of spikes or pegs. Take your third rung, set it on your third pegs. Once you get up there, you've got to then basically figure out a way to lean back, grab that first set of rungs, move it up to the top, and just caterpillar it all the way up. They only have 3 rungs to work with, so you can't lay them all down and just make it to the top. Tough challenge. Certainly not a challenge that necessarily gives advantage to the big old husky guys such as Faisal. So yeah, this is an interesting challenge, and it starts off, it's hard. Faisal, and obviously the first team to get to the very top wins this thing. So it's not just one person. Both partners have to make it to the top before the other one. So really, it doesn't come down to who's fastest of the 4. It comes down to which of these 4 is the slowest in terms of who's going to survive, who's going to go home. Game starts off, and as expected, some people have a little bit easier time of it than others, but I can't say it's easy for any of them. But Faisal, he's having a hard time not falling off this thing low to the ground. Second, third rung, it looks like. He just can't quite get these rungs to stay against these pegs once he starts putting his weight on them. When he's trying to reach down and grab one rung to move it up to make another step, he's having a hard time of it, which isn't to say that the others aren't also falling a lot. This is a frustrating challenge. I can only imagine actually playing this thing It reminds me of one or two competitions during my Big Brother season. Doesn't seem like it'd be that hard, but so frustrating when you get so close and then you slip, you fall, one of the rungs falls, you have to start all over again. Because that's the thing, every time you fall off this thing, you start back at peg number one, work your way up again. So having a hard time, but we do have someone that eventually makes it up to the top, and that is Johnny Bananas. But again, it's not who makes it up first, it's which of these four makes it up last. But Bananas has made it up to the top. He didn't panic. Now he had a few falls that would have been incredibly frustrating, but he just stuck with it, figured out a technique. He eventually makes it to the top. It's got to be hard on him. There's nothing more he can do other than just hang on and make sure he doesn't slip at this point in time. Now he's watching across the tower and just hoping that his partner, Nany, can make it up before the other two. Nothing he can do except cheer her on and help her out a little bit. Nany seems to not necessarily appreciate the constant commentary and suggestions coming from Bananas. She's, again, it's a frustrating competition. Every time she starts reaching for a rung, anything else, Bananas is quick to say, hey, do this, do that, do that. At one point, she says, Johnny, just shut up. Just be quiet for a second. I got this. Just be quiet. And she gets so close at one point in time. In fact, at one point, one of her rungs falls off. She manages to catch it between her legs so she didn't have to start over. May make the difference on this thing because she's able to reach down, grab that rung, set it up on the last peg. She has made it up to the top as well. Bananas and Nany both make it up before Faisal and Mariah have made it. So, if you could call it domination, both of them make it up before either of the other two. Bananas and Nany are safe. Bananas has now proven himself in the elimination arena this season. Faisal and Mariah are going home. Mariah would have eventually made it up to the top. I'm not sure that Faisal would have ever gotten these rungs to the very top. It would have been hard. He never really showed that he had this going on. Just wasn't his competition. So we've got Bananas and Nany safe, Mariah and Faisal going home. Goodbye to them. I definitely think that they could have been a huge favorite in a finale. They'd already had the little mini finale that they won, kind of running away with it from everyone else. This was Faisal's opportunity and Mariah's as well. This was their opportunity. They're so close, and they just didn't quite make it. Faisal's had a hard time. He didn't quite make it this time. He had the final that he was running with Casey, and then she injured her leg. He basically had to bow out of that one because of her injury. They're going to keep bringing Faisal back. He will be back next season or probably next season. He eventually is going to win one of these things, I think. Such a strong competitor, but just not this year. That's going to happen. They're going home, and now we've got eight people left, 4 duos left, and TJ informs us that, yes, these 8 are going to the finals. We are now down to the finals competition. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. We've got 3 vets. We've got 1 rookie team that's an incredibly athletic rookie team. We've got so many storylines still in this thing. Aneesa having not ever won a final. She's that much closer. Tori versus Jordan. As much as former partners, not just in the game, former romantic partners that had a breakup. Their storyline has been so much a part of this season. Respect, a little bit of love for each other, but also a lot of things, irritations popping up and a little yelling and accusations on. They're going to be going against each other. Aneesa versus Tori against each other. They're best buddies, but that's not going to stop either one of them from doing whatever it takes to win. We just have and again, then Horatio and Olivia, the one set of rookies that have a chance to win over this powerhouse of vet players. A lot of storylines to be told over the next episode or two. And I'm not sure how many episodes we've got left. I would guess being finale time, seems like we may get 2 more episodes out of it. I don't know, but I'm ready for the finale. I'm ready to see what TJ has to throw at these players. None of it's going to be easy. None of it's going to be fun based on the finales from all the years past. It's going to be fun as a viewer to watch. Maybe not so much as a player, but I'm ready for it. So we lost Amber. We lost Faisal and Mariah. We've got our final 4 duos set up for the finale, and I'm all in for it. I will be back next week to talk about episode 1 of the finale. Heck, we may have a winner. I'm not real sure, but we'll talk about everything that takes place in the next episode. Until then, guys, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.